So there's a few things that I want to accomplish with this video. One, I want to show people that God is a matchmaker. Two, I want them to see or learn how you can discern if somebody is right for you or not. And then the third thing is I want them to see like how intentional God is when it comes to putting people together, and how like he'll never leave you without evidence that this is his doing. Like there will always be something that shows you like God is in this. So that's what I want to do with this video.
Okay. I think it's also important as well, like if when people know what they're going into,
Yeah.
instead of just saying, oh, I had a dream about somebody, or
You know how I
you
feel
know
about that.
oh, that's my husband, that's my wife,
You know how I feel about people
like you
having
have to know for
dreams
sure
and
it's
saying
God,
somebody is their spouse. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah. So before we even get into like how we met, I want to kind of like take the audience on a journey with us, and like I want them to see my side and your side of like what happened leading up to us even meeting.
So go ahead.
Okay. So, well, I told you this. When I was 19, I prayed and I asked God at 19 to be my matchmaker. And like I had enough sense at 19 to know that if I did it myself, if I tried to like hook myself up, I could potentially make a mistake and choose the wrong person. But I knew that if I allowed God to do it his way, his timing, then I would be good. So at 19, I prayed and I asked God to be my matchmaker. And after I prayed that prayer, I like wasn't looking for anybody. I wasn't worried about who, what, when, how, like any of that. I just completely trusted that everything was going to happen right person, right time. Mm-hmm. So some years went by. I think I prayed that at 19. Some years went by, and like that whole time, God is like developing my character, helping me to grow and mature and stuff like that. And so I think when I was around age maybe 23, I wasn't thinking about marriage. I wasn't praying to God about marriage. I had the desire, but it just wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. I was like, that'll happen when it happens. But this particular year, I started having dreams. And in each dream, there would be a man in my dream. Like no face, couldn't see who he was, no name. But I started having dreams about a man. And like in one dream, me and this man are together like on a family vacation, and he's been really affectionate towards me. Then in another dream, he comes to pick me up and he's like there on time. Then in another dream, me and my mom are sitting in a hotel lobby, and there's a bunch of young women in this lobby, and it's like we're all just kind of waiting for something. And then the elevator opens, a group of men come walking out, and there's a man who's like at the front of this group, and he gets off the elevator praying, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, he probably gonna try to go around and talk to everybody in the room. But like in the next scene, he ends up right in front of me, and he's talking to me and my mom. And so I started having those dreams, and that's how I knew like I was going to be going into a season where I would meet the man that I was going to marry. And so every dream, God showed me something different about this man. Like the hotel dream, he got off the elevator praying, so I knew he was a man of prayer. And he was standing at the front of this group, so I knew that one day he will probably be like a leader or in a position of leadership. And then he said something funny, and me and my mom were laughing, so I knew he was funny. The other dream, he was really affectionate, so I knew that whoever this person was, he was going to be a very loving, very affectionate person. In the other dream, he showed up on time to pick me up, so I knew like he was very responsible and a very timely person. So God began to give me these different dreams, and in each dream, he was showing me something different about the man that I was going to marry, right? So that's how I was able to discern that like my season was like changing.
You was coming up of marriage
Yes. Or at least, if not even like being married, but like meeting the person that I'm supposed to marry and like going into dating and whatnot.
So God gave you pretty much a preview of what your man will look like, or not look like, but what he's going to be.
Yeah, like showing me different, I guess, like characteristics about him. Yeah. So that way, when I met the person, I'll be like, he's kind of like the man in my dreams. And what's so funny is, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But anyway, so the dreams was one thing that helped me to discern what season I was about to go into. The other thing is, I had discovered Tiffany Montgomery. And it just so happens that the first year that I start following her is the year she gives the word about the year of the bride. So we're doing the year of the bride fast and all of that. And I'm learning so much in the year of the bride fast. And it's really, I think a lot of people from the outside looking in think that whole fast is about praying and begging God for a spouse. That is not what it's about at all. It's really about dealing with yourself and like breaking generational curses and things like that, so that when you go into marriage, you go into it with like a clean spiritual slate, if that makes sense. Right. So I had the dreams. I get introduced to Tiffany's ministry. We do the year of the bride fast. And then she has Covered by God in Houston. And at this meeting, this was right after she got engaged. So she comes to Houston for Covered by God, and one of her good friends from Africa was there. I can't remember who. He's there. And then at the end, he prophesies, and he was like, by October of this year, and this was in 2023, by October of this year, you're going to meet your spouse. And then he blows his trumpet. And like in that moment, I just received the word by faith. And then I move on. And then maybe like 2 months later, we met at a conference. And then in October of that year, we started dating. Right. So the word came fast.
Word came fast.
Yeah.
So you basically just explain your side of the story.
Yeah.
How you gonna meet your husband, or meet me first. I should say now. She met me. So with mine, I wasn't even thinking about no marriage. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about, well, at the time. Let me just say this: at the time, I was really
just you and God.
Before that, I was really wanting to be married. Wanted a wife and stuff like that, and I was always looking and searching, like, oh, that's gonna be my wife. That's gonna be my wife, type of thing.
It was Marriage and Idol.
Yeah, pretty much made it Marriage and Idol. And so I went through that period of time, and then once after my testimony, after that, that's when it would start being between me and God.
Yeah.
Right. So after that journey, I was just like, okay, I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't got no time for nobody right now. Mm-hmm. I ain't even thinking about it. Even though they come across my mind, or if I see somebody, I'm like, nope, you guys, just me and you. So I was at my grandmother's, right? Mm-hmm. And mind you, I was not thinking about nobody,
Just minding your own business.
Minding my own business.
Yeah.
And minister at the time, he was like, hey, this is your wife. I was like, no, it's not, because we was on the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, it was Park Mark. Park Mark was like, hey, this is your wife. I was like, no, it's not. That's my wife. I don't even know her. Right? Mm-hmm. And then he called my mom, right? And then it was like, she was like, you think this is your wife? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know her. Yeah. Right? And this is the crazy thing. I was on Clubhouse, and I saw a picture of you, a profile, mm-hmm. right? And when I pulled up your picture, I said, now this is before any of that happened.
Before he said
anything. I said, I'm gonna marry somebody like her, right? Not knowing, because I don't want to be all delusional.
You know what I think?
Know what I'm saying?
You know what I think? What? I think you saw my picture. He was like, you was too scared to say I'm gonna marry her, so you was like, I'm gonna marry somebody like her.
Right.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I give it to you. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm gonna marry somebody like her. But when I saw, I said that's somebody that's very ambitious. I can tell she's very goal oriented, career oriented, and so I'm gonna marry somebody like her, right? In back of my mind, I was like, probably gonna marry you type thing. So
also, that's a confession, because you never said that before.
Yes, I have.
No, you didn't.
It's not bad.
You told me the part about you seeing my picture and saying I'm going to marry somebody like her, but you never said
But
in the back of my mind.
You be like, you trying to avoid, like, you gonna marry this girl. I'm like, nah, I ain't marrying her. So you trying to avoid that.
Okay.
So it's like the Holy Spirit was basically telling me you gonna marry her.
Interesting.
So I was just like avoiding because I was not trying to hear all that. So and then I said, watch Prophet Marcus trying to put it together. Bro, I kid you not. A few minutes later, he called me and he said, have you met your wife? Did you hear your wife? I was like, no, I hear the woman of God type of thing. And so in that process, I was just like, dang, God is like really moving type of thing, you know? So I didn't really have no dream, or if I did, I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it was more per se like seeking. You know, he that finds a wife is a good thing. So it was like more finding and seeking, actually seeking. You know, so but he actually told me you were. I was trying to ignore it because I wasn't trying to hear it. I was just like, Lord, especially what I did dealing with pornography and stuff. I was like, I ain't trying to be married to nobody right now. You know, and so yeah, that's how.
Okay, so just so they understand, so I didn't share this part of the story, but after I got introduced to Tiffany, I started attending Covered by God because she was having them in Houston all the time. And so I went to one Covered by God in Houston, and Prophet Marcus was there. I didn't know him, had never heard of him, but she was like, Prophet Marcus has a word. So he goes up on the platform, he prophesies. I'm like, okay, cool. After that's over, I go home. Right. The next day, I click on the Clubhouse app, which was strange. It's not strange now, but it was strange then because like I just hadn't been on Clubhouse like that. But for some reason, I clicked on the Clubhouse app the next day after Covered by God. The first room that I see says prophetic moments with Marcus Beaver. And when I saw his name, I'm like, that's the man who was at Covered by God last night. So because he was at Covered by God and he was up on the platform prophesying, I was like, you know what, let me just go in his room and like see what he about. So I click on his room and I just sit there and I listen to him teach. And that was that. And so it's so crazy how God leads me to Tiffany Montgomery and her ministry. And I begin like growing more and learning so much more. But then I start attending Covered by God and I get exposed to the ministry of Marcus Beaver. I start going in his clubhouse rooms, and somebody else who was in there noticed me and was like, I think she's solid or something like that. And so because of that, Prophet Marcus was having a conference in Chicago. Yep. And I didn't know any of y'all. He didn't know me personally, but on the Clubhouse app, I remember he invited me to the conference, which was in May. Conference was in May. Yep. Okay. May. So yeah, so he invited me to the conference in May in Chicago. And so I don't know any of y'all, but for some reason I book a flight and I come to the conference in Chicago, and that is where we met.
Yep. I had my pink suit on.
That was the last day of the conference.
I knew you. This is the crazy part. I knew you was gonna like that suit though.
Did you?
I knew because you like to dress up. I saw it with you.
When you were stalking me on social
media. Call research. If you looking for somebody to be your spouse, you gonna do some research, right? You're gonna do your research.
You call it doing research. I call it stalking.
Call it research.
Got you. So just so they understand, so I start coming in prophetic moments, and like there may have been 2 or 3 times prior to the conference where like he would kind of just call me up on the platform and kind of like just have conversation with me or ask me questions. I didn't know that back in Chicago where you were, or wherever you were at the time, while I'm in Clubhouse, like making conversation with him and just kind of answering his questions, he's talking to you about me. I didn't know that any of that was going on behind the scenes. But I get to the conference, and the whole weekend with these two girls who, like, I had just met them, Madeline and Jessica. Them two ended up being my besties that weekend. So like we end up riding together every day, going out to eat and all that kind of stuff. This is so crazy. We were driving to one of the sessions for the conference, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but we were like, did y'all hear how Prophet Marcus was saying he found Joe a wife and like he's gonna like arrange his marriage? And so we in the car kikiing. I think it's real funny. And then Jessica goes, I thought he was talking about you. Like she was talking to me. She was like, I thought he was talking about you. And Maddie goes, yeah, I thought Prophet Marcus was saying you were the one he found for Joe. Now,
I'm like, how would they know? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so whole time when PM is like, I found a wife for Joe, people are thinking he's talking about me.
You have no idea.
Have no idea. Just clueless. So I'm in a car and I'm like, why would y'all think he's talking about me? Like I just met these people. They don't know anything about me.
Right.
So Maddie and Jess would not let it go that whole weekend. And I was like, girl, you gonna marry him. And I was like, I know y'all supposed to be prophets or whatever, but I feel like y'all really missed it. I was like, y'all off. Y'all have missed it. Right. So that happened with Maddie and Jessica, and that's like when your name was brought up to me. Because prior to that, like I never paid attention to you. I wasn't like checking for you or anything like that. So that's when your name was brought up to me. That whole weekend, you and the other guys who were serving at the conference, extremely busy. I feel like we barely saw y'all. So me and you didn't really interact much throughout the conference until the last day.
And thing about it is, every time I wanted to talk to you, I always get interrupted or I had something to do. My name was called, something like, I remember we had a conversation. It was like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like, you going to
Six Flags.
And then I was like, yeah. And then my name got called. I was like, oh my God, I was just getting warmed up.
What was so funny is when you were trying to talk to me, somebody called your name and you smacked your teeth. That was so funny. Bro. It was so funny. So.
Oh, let me say this.
Yeah.
This is where I will never forget. Right. So the end of the conference, right? End of the night, and everybody's cleaning and stuff like that, and you know everybody was taking pictures. Right, you know where I'm going. Yep, sure, I'm going there.
All right, go ahead.
So we
tell your little story.
So we going to take pictures. Everybody taking pictures, right? I'm over here cleaning stuff like that, and I hear a few people saying, "Hey, Mr. Turn me up, Mr. Turn me up." So I was like, oh, "Okay, let me go over there." Mind you, you was already.
I was already over there by the backdrop taking pictures.
Right? And people call my name, Mr. Turn me up, Joe. Come here. So I came over there, took pictures. And I promise you, bruh.
Don't lie to these people.
I promise you. Tell me you was not waiting for me. Because I asked you, I said, so when I got done taking a picture with a couple people, right? And then I turned around, looked at you. I said, hey, you want to take a picture with me? Cause this is our first actual interaction. So you want to take a picture? You had your hands behind your back. He was like, yeah.
I did what?
You said, yeah.
First of all, I did not do all of that.
Yes, you did.
Nobody said, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did.
Yeah, you did. And you was acting like you was waiting for me. Tell the people, tell the people you was waiting for me to take a picture with you.
Whatever you have to tell yourself so that you can sleep good at night.
Tell the people that you was waiting for me.
Whatever floats your boat.
Tell people you was waiting for me.
Whatever makes you happy.
So you want to wait for me?
I was not.
Why you lying to the people?
That's not a lie.
Where the Bible at?
There's no Bible in here. That's not a lie.
So you want to wait for me?
I was not. But let's move on to
so if
something.
I didn't, so hold on. So if I didn't ask
Time
you,
is ticking. We only have a few minutes left.
So if I didn't ask you to take a picture, you wouldn't be salty?
No, because I don't know you.
Cap.
I don't know you. Cap. But anyway, so he asked me to take a picture, and so we take the picture.
Took the picture.
While Daryl is snapping the picture of us, Justice walks by. He stopped, looked at us, started speaking in tongues, and then walked away. Now I be paying attention to stuff. So when Justice stopped, looked at us while we taking the picture, speaks in tongues, and then walks away. Now I'm like, is he also in on this? Like, is he one of the people who also knows something that I don't know? Because that's how I'm starting to feel.
Right.
So that happens. But what is so crazy is, after the last session for the conference was over, I went to the hotel, dropped Granny off, and then I came back to help everybody clean up and whatnot. Well, I wasn't really cleaning, but I came back. Right. So I dropped her off. On my way back to the church, I'm praying. And I'm like, God, I'm having like a heart to heart with God. And this is why I say it's so important to guard your heart, because I was guarding my heart. And even though your name kept being brought up to me throughout this conference, I was not moved by that, and I really did not care. I was like, God, if he is the person you have for me, okay, cool. But if he's not, okay, cool. And like, I really felt like that. Like it didn't matter to me. So I prayed and I was like, if this is the person you have for me, like, don't let me leave Chicago like confused or not knowing. So after I pray that prayer, I get back to the church. I'm over there taking pictures. They call you over. We take a picture together. The whole thing with Justice happens. And then everybody leaves. And whoever you rode with left you.
Bro, I was supposed to get a ride, right? I'm like, where my ride at? You know what I'm saying?
Your ride left you. And
I feel like they did this on purpose.
Your ride left you. And you end up in my rental car with me, Jessica, and Maddie. Yep. And you end up sitting in the back seat with me. Yep. And we all end up going out to eat together. Then we go back to the hotel. Everybody is hanging out in the lobby till like 3 a.m. Yep. And I think Tiffany was in the lobby. Sophia was there. Prophet Marcus was there. And you come over to me and you was like, hey, PM want to talk to you. Yep. So I get up and I go sit by Prophet Marcus. And he's just asking me like how I enjoyed the conference and all that kind of stuff. And then he says, you think he's slick. He was like, Joe is a really nice young man. And I was like, okay. He was like, no, he is a really, really nice young man. He was like, he loved the Lord. He living right. Like, he's a nice young man. And I was like, okay. And then that was that. And so I noticed how after I prayed that prayer in the car, there was like a series of things that happened that same night that was God showing me. But I still refused to, like, kind of like you, like when you heard the Holy Spirit in the back of your mind be like, you gonna marry her? I prayed, a series of things happened, and I'm still like, no. Yeah. Because we hadn't interacted that whole conference.
It was fun. It was interesting. It was the last day. Because the whole time I'm busy driving people, transporting people, yeah. Hotel, to the airport, all of that. Yeah. So, and what's crazy is it had to be the last day.
The last night.
Last night.
Because I caught my flight a few hours later back to Houston. And what is so interesting is, so after I left the conference, me and you didn't talk. The conference was in May. The month of June went by. We didn't talk at all in June. July comes. I'm on a Zoom call with a couple people, and I asked a question. I forgot what the question was, but it had to be something relating to like dating or something like that. And so Prophet Marcus gets off the Zoom call that he's hosting, gets off the Zoom call and calls me on FaceTime. Well, before he called me, I'm having a conversation with one of my sisters in Christ, and this is what she said to me. She said, the first time I heard you speak, I said, that's going to be Joe's wife. And I was like, what? And so maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later, I'm having a conversation with another person. And they said to me, the first time I heard you speak, I knew you were going to be Joe's wife.
Which is, I'm like, how do people be like, I don't know.
Now, before that happened, that conversation, both of those conversations with those two people, I tried to like be like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna marry him. Not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I didn't want to be in a long distance relationship. I was in Texas, you was in Chicago.
Right.
However, I couldn't stop thinking about you, so I prayed. And
wait. You was thinking about who?
Shut up.
You kept.
No, like it just kept not in like an obsessive way.
Kept thinking about me. That's. I know those boys.
So anyway, I got irritated and I prayed and I was like, God, is this the man that I'm gonna marry or not? And I got my answer. Now, this is very important for people to know. You have to guard your heart because if not, it's so easy to be deceived by your own voice and your own desires or the enemy. Because I was guarding my heart, I wasn't clouded, and it was easy for me to hear God clearly in that moment. So when I asked God and I heard him say yes, I could trust what I heard because I knew I was being mature this whole time and guarding my heart. Right. And so then God, he confirmed what I heard because the next day or a few days later, I have two separate conversations with two different people, and they both say the exact same thing to me. So that was my like confirmation that I heard God clearly. And like when things like that take place, it's like you can't ignore that. Right. Like when stuff like that happens, it's obvious that this is the work of God.
And think about it, things like that was not forced, you know?
No, it wasn't
happened
forced
so
at all.
organically. Like God had to be like God was showing us in different ways that I'm in this. It's like I'm talking about you guys, you guys. Like this is you two. I'm putting you guys together. And it was like, you know, of course people gonna talk about like, yeah, that's your you better get with her, whatever the case may be.
And
but
despite
like
what people were saying, you didn't care.
I didn't care. I
didn't care. I'm like, no. I only wanted to know what God had to say.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So then 4th of July comes, and that's the very first time we talk on the phone.
Oh man, let me tell you something. Cause matter of fact, you was on the phone with PM, right?
Me and PM was on the phone, very brief, and he was like, "You know what? Talk to your brother." And I was like, "My brother?"
I was like,
I'm on the phone with PM, and then he passed the phone and was like, "Oh, talk to your brother." And I'm like, "Who is my brother?"
I saw the phone. I said, "Oh, this Caitlin." I said, "Hey, what's good?"
And then I was like, "I know you lying. This man just set me up."
Oh man.
So me and you end up being on the phone for what, like 2-3 hours?
Almost 2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours
for the first time.
Yep, that was the 4th of July, and then you called me on July 5th, and we talked for 5 hours. 5 hours.
Just what's crazy, those 5 hours, we was just laughing the whole time. Which was I was like, yo, am I starting like I'm like, this girl cool.
So that was in July. And then in October of that same year, we started dating. And it wasn't until we started dating that all of a sudden those dreams I had a few years ago came to my remembrance. And I started realizing you were literally the man of my dreams. Like you were just like the man in my dreams. I'm like, you had the same characteristics. Like it was all the same. And so I love how God, like ahead of time, way before I met you, gave me those dreams so that when I met you, I could remember those dreams he gave me. And
So I think it's important while we coming into conclusion with this. I think it's so important that before we go into any relationship, you always want to, or anything per se, you want to make sure God is in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, especially going into marriage, especially you want to be married to someone for the rest of your life, you definitely want to take the time, because things will happen quickly in God's speed, in God's time.
Yeah.
But you also want to guard your heart, as you were saying, and make sure this is God really is in the is in.
You want to make sure that God is the one orchestrating this.
Orchestrate.
Because you do have people who they think it's a good idea for two people to be together, and they try to play matchmaker. But for believers, and God does work through people.
Absolutely.
He works through people.
Absolutely.
So he may use a person to introduce you to your spouse, but it's up to you to like do your due diligence and to pray and seek God and find out, is that the will of God for my life?
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's how we
I'm
met.
still amazed by that. I'm still amazed by that, how that worked.
God is definitely a matchmaker.
Yeah. So now that we're married, we having the best time. Let me tell you something.
All right.
Hola, manda shaya. Oh, Jesus is good. Let me tell you something.
That was the story of how we
Boy,
met.
let me tell y'all
We pray that this blessed you. We hope you got something out of it. So make sure you like, share.
If y'all want to get married,
make sure you subscribe. And we'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.
See y'all.
You need help.